Hello everyone, I welcome you all to my channel, and today I am going to start the chapter Force and Pressure of class 8th. So let us recall some of the activities where the force is involved, like lifting the objects, closing door, opening the window, kicking a ball. Okay, these are the some of the activities in our day-to-day life where the force is involved. So now if you observe these situations carefully, you will understand what is force. It's force is a push or pull, okay, or else we can say it's a kind of external effort that we are exerting on the objects, okay. And if you again observe the things, okay, then you can get to know that for a force to act on the objects, minimum or at least there must be an interaction between the two objects. Yes. And the very important point here is about the net force or the total force, what we can say. Let's get into that point here. There's net force. Let's say there is a box placed on the floor, okay, and two of you are applying force on it, okay, in the same direction. So after applying the force, what do you observe? You will see there will be a displacement in the box, isn't it? Now in this case we'll try to know what is the net force. See here, when number of forces or when one or two or more forces are acting on an object in the same direction, the net force or the total force is the sum of all those forces which are acting on the object. Understand? Now another case we'll see. You can see one of you is applying force, okay, pushing this box in this direction, and your friend is applying force on this object from the opposite direction. So in this case the net force is obtained, you know how? Yes, in this case, like when two forces are acting on an object in the opposite direction, in that the net force will be the difference of the forces, okay, it will be the difference. Let's say if it is of 5 Newton and it is also of 5 Newton, then the difference of these two forces will be 0. 5 minus 5, it will be 0. So the net force acting on the object will be 0. Understand? If the net force acting on the object is 0, then there will be a no displacement in the object. There will be a no motion in the object. Understand? If you want to see the displacement or the motion in the object, then the net force should not be equal to 0. Understand? So after that, now we'll see what are the effects of force on the object. Like if you observe the day-to-day like activities, okay, you will get to know how what is the impact of force on the objects. Like force can it can set a stationary object into motion. Like let us say there is a ball which is placed on the ground, okay, if you kick that, then that stationary ball, okay, it starts to move. So we can say force is an agent, okay, it's an agent that can set a stationary object into motion, isn't it? And we can also say that force can bring a moving object into rest. Like you are riding a bicycle, when you apply the force, okay, by using brakes, then the moving vehicle or that bicycle, yes, it comes to the rest. So we can say a force can also bring a moving object into the rest, okay. Then not only that, even force can bring a change in the speed of moving objects. For example, like you are riding a bicycle, okay, one of your friend is pulls you from behind. So due to this there will be a decrease in the speed, okay. And we can also increase the speed of a moving object. Like let us say, again take the same example, you are riding a bicycle and your friend, he or she pulls you from pushes you from behind. So in that case there will be a increase in your speed. So we can conclude that force not only set a stationary object into motion, and it can also increase or decrease the speed of a moving object. Okay, and one more effect of force is that force can bring the change in the shape of an object. Okay, like best example you can say dough. Yes, when you are kneading the dough, okay, by applying the force, there will be a change in its shape and size, isn't it? Or else when you take a rubber band and just stretch it, there will be a change in the size of that. So we can say force can also change the shape and size of an object. Now let's take another example here, another effect of that. Let's say an object is moving in one direction. Okay, by applying force you can also change the direction of its motion. Okay, so these are the some effects of force on the objects. So just I will recall those points. Just remember, force can change the state of rest, force can change the state of motion, force can change the direction of motion, force can increase or decrease the speed of moving objects, isn't it? And also it changes the shape of an object. So these are the effects of force. After that we will talk about its types. Now there are two types of forces usually we come across, that is contact force and non-contact force. So today we'll at least talk about the contact force. See here, what is contact force? The forces that act on the objects when objects comes in contact. Okay, they are called the contact forces. Examples, like you can take the example of muscular force and frictional force. Muscular force and frictional force are the examples of contact force. So let us get into that point. What is muscular force? The force that we exert on the objects using our body muscles. Okay, that is called the muscular force. It is also known as the biological force. Okay, like lifting an object, pushing, pulling, kicking. So all these are the examples of muscular force. Now we'll see another example of contact force, that is frictional force. See, frictional force is nothing but when an object is resting, okay, when the object is resting on a surface, or when it is sliding on the surface, or when it is rolling on the surface, the force that come into play between the surfaces in contact, okay, and that force always opposes the motion in the objects, and this force is called frictional force. Try to understand what is frictional force. See here, when two surfaces are in contact, okay, maybe it is resting on that, maybe it is rolling on that, or it may be sliding. So the force which come into play between these two surfaces in contact, and it always tries to stop an object from moving, this force is called frictional force. And if you observe, the nature of the frictional force is to always oppose the motion, okay, in the object. If the object is at rest, okay, the frictional force tends to stop an stationary object from moving. Okay, not only that, if the object is moving, the frictional force tend to stop a moving object, okay, and it tries to bring it to the rest. So this is all about the contact force. So in the next class we shall talk about the non-contact force. Thank you.